They both have more in common than you think.
Greg has a lot on his plate right now.
Fast English Challenge number 1.
Greg has a lot on his plate right now. Greg has a lot on his plate right now. Greg has a lot on his plate right now.
If you have a lot on your plate, you have a lot of work to do or a lot of things to deal with. I can't join the party tonight. I've got a lot on my plate.
I have a lot on my plate.
As a doctor, I have a lot on my plate.
I got a lot on my plate right now.
Okay, I've got a lot on my plate.
I got a lot on my plate right now.
You've got a lot on your plate.
I can't talk right now. I got a lot on my plate.
I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot on my plate.
Fast English Challenge 2.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue.
On the tip of my tongue. This phrase is used when you are trying to remember a word or a name, and you feel that you are very close to remembering it, but you just can't recall it completely.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It starts with a T. Maybe telepathy.
What's the name of that book we read last month? It's on the tip of my tongue.
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 Right on the tip of my tongue.
It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Fast English Challenge 3.
What's the point in dwelling on it? What's the point in dwelling on it? What's the point in dwelling on it?
When you dwell on something, you are spending too much time thinking about it. This phrase has a negative connotation and is not used in positive situations. She keeps dwelling on her mistakes at work. Don't dwell on the past. You need to move on.
I stopped dwelling on the past.
I don't like to dwell on it.
She's dwelling on the past.
Well, there's no point dwelling on it.
Now, let's not dwell on the past.
Let's not dwell on the past. Let's not dwell on the past.
Fast English Challenge 4.
Guys, there's an easy way to get to the bottom of this. Guys, there's an easy way to get to the bottom of this. Guys, there's an easy way to get to the bottom of this.
Get to the bottom of something. This means to discover the truth about a situation. Imagine you have a box filled with different layers of things. To see everything in the box, you need to remove each layer until you reach the bottom. Similarly, when you get to the bottom of a problem or a situation, you look through all the details until you find the real reason.
We're going to get the bottom of this, I promise you.
The company is having financial problems. They need to get to the bottom of it and fix the issue.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of it.
We're getting to the bottom of that.
You know what? I'm gonna call Charles's dad and get to the bottom of this.
We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Fast English Challenge 5.
This car just came out of nowhere. This car just came out of nowhere. This car just came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. This means something happened suddenly and unexpectedly. You have to be careful. Cars just come out of nowhere, and it's easy to have an accident.
I'm really sorry about that. Your car came out of nowhere.
And then the car came out of nowhere.
The car came out of nowhere.
He came out of nowhere.
He came out of nowhere.
And he came out of nowhere. And he came out of nowhere. And he came out of nowhere.
Fast English Challenge 6.
It says nothing to do with cars. It says nothing to do with cars. It says nothing to do with cars.
If you have nothing to do with someone or something, you are not involved or connected with it. For example, if someone says this book has nothing to do with cooking, it means that the book does not discuss or involve cooking in any way.
It has nothing to do with me.
It has nothing to do with you.
You're right, it has nothing to do with me.
God has nothing to do with it.
Chance has nothing to do with it.
Stress has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Halloween.
It has nothing to do with energy. It has nothing to do with being single.
I have nothing to do with it. I have nothing to do with it. I have nothing to do with it.
Fast English Challenge 7.
They both have more in common than you think. They both have more in common than you think. They both have more in common than you think.
Have in common. This phrase means to share similar traits, interests, or characteristics with someone else. For example, if you and your friend both like soccer, you can say, "We have soccer in common."
We have something in common. We have something in common.
Hey, we have something in common.
If you share a lot of things, you can say, "We have a lot in common," or "We have so much in common." We both love video games, movies, and pizza. We have a lot in common.
And we have a lot in common.
We have a lot in common, so
We have so much in common.
We have so much in common.
Moving on to have nothing in common. It's the opposite of have in common. It means there are no similarities.
You and me, we have nothing in common.
Anyway, we have nothing in common.
We have nothing in common.
Fast English Challenge 8.
While we're at it, I've been on the internet. While we're at it, I've been on the internet. While we're at it, I've been on the internet.
While you're at it, this means that since you're already doing something, you might as well do something else too. You're at it simply means you are doing it.
While you're at it, Sam, why don't you give them one of your old jock straps?
While you're at it, could you make me a couple more?
And while we're at it, why don't we get engaged too?
You're making coffee for yourself. You see your friend and say, "While you're at it, can you make me a cup of coffee too?"
While we're at it, let's look at halitosis cures for you.
While we're at it, we'll have a balloon instead of a ball.
While I'm at it, let's do that. While I'm at it, let's do that.
Fast English Challenge 9.
Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not beat around the bush.
Beat around the bush. It means not saying something directly. We use this when someone is avoiding the main point. It's like walking in circles around a bush instead of going straight through it.
Don't beat around the bush, Leonard. If you don't want me here, just say the word and I'll leave.
She was hesitant to ask directly and kept beating around the bush.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to get straight to the point.
Gonna is a quick way to say going to.
Look, I'm not going to beat around the bush.
Okay, why don't you guys quit beating around the bush?
David, I don't want to beat around the bush.
Bess, let's not beat around the bush.
I won't beat around the bush. I won't beat around the bush. I won't beat around the bush.
Fast English Challenge 10.
Used to carry it around in high school. Used to carry it around in high school. Used to carry it around in high school.
Used to. This is used to talk about something that happened regularly in the past, but no longer happens now. She used to live in New York. She lived in New York before, but she doesn't live there now. We use the base form of the verb after used to.
You used to live here, remember?
You used to love it when I would carry you around.
Egyptians used to worship cats.
I used to live around here. I used to live around here. I used to live around here.
Now, let's talk about be used to. It describes something you are familiar with or comfortable with now. Be used to is followed by a noun or the ing form of a verb.
I'm not used to being tickled. I'm not used to being tickled. I'm not used to being tickled.
I used to drink coffee, but now I am used to drinking tea.
I'm used to working, used to being alone.
I'm used to being let down.
I'm not used to public speaking.
Sorry, I'm not used to public speaking.
I'm used to it.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
Quiz and speaking practice. I can't think of his name right now. It's on the I can't think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. Let's practice. I can't think of his name right now. It's on the tip of my tongue. Don't just tell me what you think. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell me what you think. Don't beat around the bush. Just tell me what you think. Don't past. Don't dwell on the past. Don't dwell on the past. His decision has nothing to do with you. His decision has nothing to do with you. You have to be careful. Cars come and it's easy to have an accident. You have to be careful. Cars come out of nowhere. You have to be careful. Cars come out of nowhere. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson.